Hi guys, why is Nigel Farage able to get away with lying and suffer no real consequences? How can he be exposed as a failure but be able to bounce back and still win more support from the public? It's actually quite simple. He never has to deal with the responsibility of power. The former Brexit Party leader is a bit like a heckler at a comedy club. He will shout from the back of the room telling the comedian what he or she is doing wrong, what they should be doing instead. Will the heckler get up on stage and try and do 2 hours of stand-up? Of course not, as it would fall apart. But that's not the goal of this type of heckler. Farage, when he heckles, it's about convincing the comedian to tell jokes that he wants and he believes the audience want to hear. When the audience go away at the end of the night, they remember the heckler, not the comedian. Farage, I believe, wants to influence power, but not to be making difficult decisions. And this is something that has served him well over the years. Now it seems he wants to influence the Conservative Party another time, and callers like this one are ready to buy the snake oil again.
Nigel Farage joining the Conservative Party, I think would be a great thing. Me and my husband, ex-armies, have always voted Conservative, but this time we're thinking of not doing because nobody seems real in the party. And Nigel, I feel as though you know him when he's talking. I just feel as though I could trust him. I don't know why, but I just feel like he's trustworthy.
And he's certainly got something which other politicians just haven't. He's got that sort of charisma that if he walks into a room, people look round, and you wouldn't say that for many of the present cabinet, would you?
Exactly. You've got, I feel as though they're all trying too hard, and they're not. They're not real. They're not real people. That's what I feel. They're not real people. But Nigel feels real. He feels like a real person. I'm a northern girl, and I just. He feels as though he could be northern. He feels as though he belongs to that kind of people.
He lives near Sevenoaks. You can't get much more southern than that.
Well, there you go then. He's just got that. He's got that, what I call this northern twang with him. He's got this thing that I can trust him.
Oh my goodness. You can trust Nigel Farage. After all the lies that he has told, the way that he has convinced people to vote against their own interest when it comes to Brexit in particular. Now, a few things. Well, first of all, if you want a real northerner who actually cares about people and is authentic, then you should be supporting Andy Burnham because he's somebody who's actually a real person and he actually cares about people in the north. Nigel Farage doesn't. He never has, he never will. But two things he raised here. The first is that he feels like a real person. And this is part of Nigel Farage's charm. He's very good at convincing people that he's like them. Of course, he's not anything like them. He lives in a completely different world. But he's very good at connecting with people. And you can see it on his show. You can see it when he was campaigning for Brexit. He came across as just a regular guy who's concerned about the European Union, concerned about regulations, concerned about ordinary people. Of course, it was a facade. It was all fake. He didn't really care about these things. It was just about himself or convincing people to support him. But the second one, she called him trustworthy. I really can't get my head around this. How can you look at what's happened over the last 7 years? Nigel Farage promised sunlit uplands. Nigel Farage promised that things would be wonderful, that fishermen and farmers would have a better life post-Brexit than they do that they had before. And look at the reality. He said that businesses, of course, they'll be continuing to export into the single market. You know, the European Union is going to do a good deal with Britain. All based on lies, based on a lack of an understanding of the European Union. But he gets away with it. That's the shocking thing about this. You know, one thing is the charisma. The other is the lies. He's called trustworthy. How can anyone look at Nigel Farage and say the first thing that comes to mind is trustworthy? And he's going to use this. He knows that there's a certain section of society that considers him just an ordinary guy and considers him trustworthy, and they're going to support him. And there's a chance that if he becomes a member of the Conservative Party or he's given, you know, a safe seat, he'll use that as a platform to convince the public they should support the Conservatives. And he may be successful. I don't see him becoming Prime Minister. I don't see him becoming a minister. He's not interested in that. That requires him, you know, taking on some responsibility. He's more interested in the show, convincing people to follow him and then support somebody else. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.